Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck Sim live stream. Today it's the 18th of July 2023, 3 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. We're back in X-Plane 12 in the excellent ZIBO mod 737, and whilst the rest of the world and south of Europe basks in heat, I'm in a nice, cool, chilly 14 degrees Celsius here in the United Kingdom, but I thought it'd be a great opportunity to display some of the impacts hot weather has on operating a 737. We are in Greece, in Corfu. Do excuse the sort of not as good as Microsoft Flight Simulator scenery. This is just Ortho 4XP with the stock Corfu scenery. I do actually have some payware scenery, but it was all outdated. I thought, you know what, I'll just use the default Corfu scenery. But this is also outdated as well. They've got all the dodgy stands here like they used to be years ago. They've all been changed in the last couple of years. But not to worry, we'll be taking off from here. It's only an hour flight over to Sicily. We're going to be going to Comiso for the first time, where we're going to have to fly a circle to land approach. We'll talk about the impact hot temperatures has on things like aircraft performance, high energy approaches as well. Right now in Corfu it's 38 degrees Celsius, it's a short runway, and because we're taking a full load of passengers and some cargo in the hold, we're going to have to do a bleeds off takeoff as well, so we'll review the procedure for that prior to departure. It's been a few months since we've ever attempted to do one of those as well. Good practice for me to practice this, so when it happens on the line I'm refreshed too. So yeah, it's going to be good fun. Again, it was a very short notice planned stream. I only published it 30 minutes ago. I did have plans today, but we've made some last minute changes, and I decided to stream this instead. Would I also like to welcome to my trusty companion into the flight deck as well. Look who's here, everyone! It's Jack. He's been to be with me for a week or so, but he's currently chewing the rear of his leg. Jack, hello. You're going to say hello to everyone? Yeah, you continue. Yes, you continue licking and chewing on your leg there. But yes, he's here during the stream here. I've got some leave at the moment, off for a couple of weeks or so. So he's looking after me up the front here. Let me just check. Your cam's all good. Rotated there slightly. Excellent. Now, for those of you who watched the last two streams as well, I've had a few technical issues with the internet. They have not been fixed yet. However, it's very intermittent. Essentially, I'm just losing internet every kind of 30 minutes to sometimes I go hours with no problems, and I only lose it for about 20 to 30 seconds. BT are on the case. They're sending an engineer tomorrow. There could be a kink in my fibre optic line. I have fibre to the premises, very quick internet, but it's just sometimes causing losses of packet data. So if you do have any internet hiccups or pauses, just push F5 to refresh your page or re-scroll the screen. Hopefully it will be fixed tomorrow anyway. But yes, looking forward to this little sector today. Let's zoom on in towards the aircraft. We're going to imagine it's completely cold and dark, or I should say hot and dark today. It's going to be so hot in that aeroplane with the sun basking on it, sat here on the apron. And we're going to start the APU straight away to accommodate that. Who we got here? Domino Mosina. Jack woke up all the mods. Yes, it looks like all the mods are saying hello to Jack. Hope you're doing well, guys. Voto's here. Nothing better than a Labrador Retriever. Well, he's not a Retriever, but he's just a lab, but he's my best buddy down here as well. Aaron Hastings said leg. Wonderful. I hope you're doing well. Because there's a few people have spawned here on stand as well. It's completely empty. Well, if some of you want to join in on the sector, that's fine. That's amazing. Sometimes I publish streams, days in advance. No one joins me. I publish this one 30 minutes to go, and everyone's here. That's great. Domino Messina's here. I've said hello to you. Listerman, Edo, Tim Waters, Aaron, 2 tons. Loads of the members are in chat today. John Popham says currently sat in a villa in Dubrovnik watching the planes on final approach flight in sim. Have you flown into Dubrovnik before? I haven't, but I should think it's very hot in Croatia as well at the moment. Ivota says, hello all, had a name change previously. You were John C. Thanks for the impromptu stream. You're most welcome. Yes, I didn't recognise the name, so hello John C. I hope you're doing well. I've got a message from someone actually about membership change, so I'll try and chase that up too. Magic is here. Cyan Lone, GA aircraft, you have to lean for power now, which is a bit different from full rich on takeoff. Yes, the density altitude is obviously a lot higher with this heat too. 2 tons, it's 33 degrees. Oh, 10 AM local, wow. It cooled down from yesterday, 35 degrees at 10 AM. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about climate change and the impact that's having at the moment. It all seems to be in the media. But yeah, I think it's at our destination at the moment, Comiso, it's 39, 40 degrees Celsius. I think Sicily is one of the hottest places in Europe right now. Right, let's get the show on the road anyway. And as I said, I'll get back to you in chat to answer some questions when and where applicable. But yeah, look, I forgot to open the doors on the stairs prior to stream, so I'll just zoom on into the flight deck and spawn into my brain. There we go. Excellent. So as I said, what's the actual temperature right now in Corfu? It's 38 degrees, and I've gotten the OPT performance ready. I got our gross weight up to ensure that we had to do a bleeds off takeoff as well. So we're quite heavy, as I said, a full load of passengers. We'll look at the implications of that as well. So let's put the battery on. Well, imagine there's no GPU available, so you can already see, look, the temperature in the cabin is approaching 40 degrees, which would probably be a bit hotter than that, than the ambient temperature, because of the sun on the hull. But we'll put the battery on. Now, if we've got no GPU available, we can turn the APU on, but before we do that, we just need to do the fire test to ensure there's no faults with that. So let's check that out now. That's the fault, and there we are. We've got the APU fire light illuminated and the engine warning light, sorry, the fire warning light and the bell sounding too. So we can now start the APU here, and we're just sort of waiting very patiently for this to start, so we can get the conditioned air into the cabin as soon as possible. Taylor L, ZIBO today. Yes, we're in the latest version, version 4, release candidate 2.9. I just tested the Ortho 4XP for this sector, both at our departure and arrivals, and practice a full bleeds off takeoff. I'm pleased to say the performance in the ZIBO mod with the calculated engine thrust of the OPT is exactly what I'd expect. It's looking really good, but I didn't have time to do a full test sector, so fingers crossed we don't have any serious issues. 52 degrees in Death Valley, says James Warren. That's really very, very hot indeed. James, I didn't realise it was you. Hello, buddy. Maverick says hello, Sam and Jack. Hope you're doing well, buddy, as well. Rezek, you also have a Labrador named Jack, and my name is Sam. It's such an amazing coincidence. That's crazy. Maybe you're leading an alter ego live of mine. There we are. APU is all booted up. You can hear it running there. So APU should be able to put on the burst as soon as possible. There we are. We'll put on the fuel pumps as soon as possible as well, so that's pressurised. And you now need to wait 1 minute to put the APU bleed on for conditioned air. You don't want to do it straight away. It prolongs the life of the... I don't know exactly, but it is in the manuals. The max requires 2 minutes, and I think I think at my operator we use 2 minutes for both the NG and the max, but it used to be 1 minute for the NG. They changed it to 2 minutes for all aircraft. So we'll wait for that, so we can get the conditioned air into the cabin as soon as possible. We can then complete the safety inspection checklist whilst we wait for that. So battery on, electric hydraulic pumps we can now pop on. Landing gear lever we verify is down, and we have 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6 green lights, and then check all the aircraft documentation. Let's get the doors open as well. So ground services, open the forward entry doors, the cargo doors, extend the air stairs on this aircraft as well. Now, we would have briefed the cabin crew, obviously, you can hear the APU now, briefed the cabin crew with the temperatures like this today, where the sun is, so up there just behind the aircraft, so you can see, look, the right side's in the shade, the left hand side's in the sun. We'd instruct them to, and if the passengers were on board, to keep the window blinds closed on the sunny side, especially if we didn't have an APU, and that just helps keep the temperature down. So that's one of the implications we need to think about with hot weather operations. It's part of the supplementary procedures, and we'll be referring to several times today. That's about a minute, so let's put the APU bleed on, trim air, and turn those temperatures down. So hopefully you'll see the temperature in the cabin will fall down, so let's put them down to cold, and make sure you've got the packs in auto as well. See the duct pressure stabilise, and now we've got lovely cool conditioned air coming into the cabin. Now the APU is actually very good at providing cool and conditioned air, more so than the engines at idle power, and one of the supplementary procedures we have in the 737 for hot weather operations is if we were taxiing out and we have, say, a slot and we're sat at the whole point with the engines running for ages, if it's extremely hot, the APU is actually better at providing conditioned air, so we actually turn the engine bleeds off, open the isolation valve and put the APU bleed air switch on, and the pack switches to high. That's actually an approved procedure in the supplementary procedures. I've never had to do it because the engine bleed is usually sufficient to provide cool air at idle thrust, but if it isn't, the APU bleed can be used if it's extremely hot, but I've never had to do that in the last 12 years or so. So, we'll do the fire test, which we've already completed. We'll just check the squibs. I forgot to check the APU squib, actually. I should have done that prior to starting the APU. Let's check the emergency exit lights are armed. Test the attend button. Here is the operational flight plan for our sector. So it's a bit windy in Comiso, and because we're doing the circle to land today, it's going to be quite tricky. I'd like a bit of extra fuel because we do need to configure early. So I'll take an extra 400 kilos, about 10 minutes, enough to do the circle to land. So that's going to be 5.9, 6.3 tons of fuel. So let's go here to fuel, 6-3. I'm all pretty much there because I was doing the test for the bleed off takeoff earlier. 6-3, enter. The payload I've done already, it's basically a full load, all economy, 189 passengers in the mod, 1,500 kilos of checked in bags in hold 1, and that's all loaded already. We'll call for the fuel truck.
Ground flight deck hose is connected and starting a review.
And that's all coming up as well. Now, yeah, talking about the circling then, if you guys want to know how to fly the circling approach, I'll show you this later. I've got several tutorials and streams on it. But take a picture of this here. I don't know if my webcam will focus on that.
Ground flight deck fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
That doesn't take long. But I do this for my checks, whenever I actually do a circle to land on the line, I put all my tracks, timings and courses on a little piece of paper, and then I have that clipped to my clipboard, so it's quite useful to use, but I'll be referencing that later today. Right, fuel is complete, so we can put the seatbelt sign on, continue the rest of the checks here, so all looking good up here, flaps are up which match the indicated position, takeoff warning check, stab trim is up, fire warning, handles are all in, and do the cargo fire test now, forward aft, discharged, and got the bell, just make sure we've got the fire warning lights on too. Yes, we do. Squawk, I think that's from my last stream in the ZIBO mod, so we'll put that 2000 standby. VHF 1, selected on both mic selectors, panel lighting up. Check the gear extension doors closed. Circuit breakers are all in. Check the overhead panel up here. Stall warning test 1, 2, Mach airspeed warning test. Flight recorders checked. This is all set up here. We've got the sufficient crew oxygen, IRS to nav, and check the circuit breakers this side, and check the tech log and the safety equipment. We can start now the boarding, which is done. Pressing. Where is it? How do you start boarding on this? I've forgotten. There we are. Start flight leg. There we are. Excellent. Let's have a look at some of the questions here. Hello. That's been Martin. I've had so many DMs, tags, emails and messages about this Comanche. I had a look at a video from the A2A team. I've never flown their aircraft before. They actually own a Comanche. So, yes, I will purchase that. I'll ask very nicely if they do review copies. If not, I'll purchase it. And we'll perhaps look at that maybe Thursday or Friday, if possible. And then Saturday I'm going away for 3 days to Norfolk with my girlfriend, just having some time away on some annual leave. So maybe I could squeeze that in Thursday or Friday. List them in 189 breathing and sweating light bulbs crammed in a tin box. Awesome. That is a really good point you've made there, list them in a cabin. The amount of heat a human generates, it's quite a lot. So when you've got nearly 200 of them in a confined space, it generates a lot of heat. So when you put that on top of the fact it's 38 degrees here in Corfu, it's an unpleasant experience if you don't have an APU. Now, if I was not to have an APU today and I was operating in an airport like Corfu, I'd actually ring ops and see if there's any chance to either A, get the APU fixed, or B, swap onto an aircraft where the APU works and not fob off the airplane to someone else, but perhaps they're going somewhere that's a little cooler. That's what operations is there for you to do. But there are ways to mitigate against this extreme heat when you don't have an APU. It's a bit limited. But one thing you can do is, if you're allowed to by air traffic control, is actually start an engine on stand after boarding, get everyone out of the way, and then use that to provide conditioned air into the cabin. That is actually an approved procedure. We just put on a bit of extra fuel, use an engine for an air conditioning unit essentially, but it's effective. Excellent. Hello, Chilanius in chat. Says good day, flight deck sim and chat. Hope you're doing well as well. Thanks for popping in. Can you play Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020? Says Xbox Legend. Yes, we do occasionally jump into that simulator. I do love both Sims and X-Plane 12 as well. We'll definitely be flying that. Listerman's got it. It's roughly 50-50. It is a bit 50-50. I don't kind of go, oh, I need to stream an X-Plane and I need to stream Microsoft Flight Simulator. I just do what I feel like doing, and I try to do stuff that's relevant, sort of what's come out recently. So this is very relevant because the world's suffering from a heat wave. So I thought, let's talk about how to fly in these conditions. Exactly, Brendan. Very expensive air conditioning unit. Absolutely. Right, we did the safety inspection. Let's have a look at VATSIM here. Ooh, is there actually any ATC here? We actually have ATIS for Corfu, but there's no tower approach. Maybe there's a centre controller providing ATC for the entire sector. Looking here, I think there is. Would Lima Golf Centre, Greece Centre, provide ATC for us? We're just here in Corfu, so maybe we'll get some ATC from them. Regardless, I'll get the ATIS for Corfu now, which is frequency 126350, which we're tuning in now. And we'll tune into the ATIS.
You have listened
Good
to
timing.
information data.
Welcome aboard, Hyperin. Thanks for subscribing.
Says Kirkira ATIS information data.
What?
Recorded at 1450 Zulu Special. Expect our nav approach. Arrival runway 34. Departure runway 16. Transition level 65 web 290 at 14. Nav OK. Temperature 37. 2.19er. QNH 1010. Advise on initial contact. You have listened to information data.
So information
Advise on initial
Delta, I think
contact.
that's saying.
You have listened to information data.
Information what? Sorry, it is Delta. I looked at it on text. It looked like blah, blah, blah. So he said runway 16 for departure, but for performance reasons, we are going to have to backtrack and depart on runway 34. I'm just actually having a look at the OPT now. Runway 16. The surface wind is 29014 now. I think we do not have sufficient performance. 29014. It's 8 knot tailwind. No, can't do it. So it's saying runway 16 for departure, but we can't actually do it for performance reasons. If I was to show you here, I probably hold on. It says no can do. Oh look, who can see Juliet Roberts in the reflection? That's a complete coincidence. Right in the middle. It says no takeoff allowed. That's for runway 16, based off the actual ATIS there. ATIS is mumbling. Information la la. Exactly. Brendan, is it one cabin crew per 50 passengers? That is correct. Geron de Gloot, thanks for your 9 months as a member. I hope you did not forget to pack your shorts, Captain. No, I'm actually wearing jeans today, if I was to show you here. Look, I'm sporting denim, but it is nice and cool in the UK. It's currently raining, so we're the only place, as I said, not not suffering from heat waves. She's always watching, absolutely. Greg Scott, thanks for the 44 months as a member. There was a JetBlue Airbus recently that took off with AC issues and passengers were passing out. Oof, yeah, I can believe so. You do have to really monitor that situation. If you don't have an APU or if you have air conditioning issues, you've got to be prepared to sort of delay boarding, or perhaps if it's extreme, you know, talk to ops and say, look, the temperature in here is unacceptable for people. We can't do anything. It happens. I've, touch wood, not had it happen. You've got to be very aware of these things and just be able to liaise with everyone to ensure that passenger comfort's not compromised. But yeah, I can believe it. What about the white slippers? What about my white slippers base leg, Bob? I've got some. There you go. There are the ones available. I've got penguin slippers. I'm ready for the banter. Crack on. Right, got the ATIS, got the QNH 1010. MFRA is off the OPT. Again, if anyone asks where did I get this from, it's from the real world OPT, which unfortunately isn't available publicly. There we are. MFRA is 1188, so we can set that here, 1188. This is the height at which we accelerate in the event of an engine failure. Right, let's load up the FMC then. I knew you had them. I know you did base leg, Bob. Brilliant. Right, let's grab the OFP. So, latest AirAC installed. We're in Corfu, Lima Golf, Kilo Romeo. Coordinates are in GPS left. And we're flying to Comiso, Lima India Charlie Bravo. This was the hottest place in Europe when I checked it this morning, and also had a cool circle to land approach, which I think you guys like to see. Call sign is Alpaca 40. That's the temperature in Comiso, and then Hotel Tango for hot. Oh dear. Departing runway 34, and then when we get our clearance, we'll request that for performance reasons. Idimi 1 Foxtrot. From there, it's going to be upper mic 600 to Dinob. November 573 to Dodel. From there it's Dodel, Quebec 72 to Nottree. And later on it will be a Nottree 1 Tango. It's a procedural approach for ILS 005, of which we'll only fly the localizer It's the COM1 transition, and we'll be doing the transition ILS or localizer running to a circle to land onto runway 23. So it's a bit of a long one there. Malta's the alternate. That is correct to the south. That is activated. We'll execute it. So let's do the performance. 0 fuel weights in, 61.1. To divert to our alternate Malta, we need 2.6 tons of fuel. Cost index 30 at Alpaca Airways. We're cruising at 29,000 feet, quite low for this sector. That's executed. Top of climb and average wind is about the same, so we'll just stick in the average wind. 339 at 19. Temperature here off the the top of climb ice is 14 degrees, so you can see how much warmer it is and nicer. Temperature here is now 30, well, the ATIS said 37, it's now 36, so it looks like it's cooled down a little bit. I'll just reset the standby altitude indicator. 39 degrees, dear heavens, at our destination. Yeah, that is extremely hot. That is extremely hot. What is this doing? It doesn't do that. There we go. Well, this should be 38. We'll update it to what we got off the OPT. And full 26k. So just to show you here, so 38 degrees. 300 at 12, 1011 optimum. Now you'll see here it says 99.7. That's because I've got the packs on auto and all the bleeds on. If I turn the bleeds or the packs off here, look, temporarily, you'll see that should increase at 99.6 to 99.7, so it's in 0.1. That's because we're doing a bleeds off takeoff. So you can see here when you've got the bleeds off, you get an extra 0.8% N1, which is why we do the bleeds off takeoff. You get a bit more thrust from the engines. So put the packs back in auto, we can only produce here 98.9% N1, so that's the whole idea for doing the bleeds off takeoff. Right, performance is all set, and in limits, V speeds we need to set for flap 5, which was the most optimal flap setting. CG 14.9, 6.5 units, which we'll set here. There we are, 6.5 units set, and the speeds are all within 1 knot of the OPT, 38, 40, 48, and we'll set V2 up here on the MCP. Perfect, just need to turn up the lighting. Excellent. Woo. Just hit my head on the glare shield. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this X-Plane 12 update that's pending, which should improve lighting significantly. It's just very dark in cockpits here. Right, let's check here the overhead panel. So yaw dampers on, nav transfer display switch is normal, auto fuel 4 pumps, check the cross feed valve. Look at the temperature of the fuel. Anyone in chat know the maximum fuel temperature permitted in the 737? The maximum fuel temperature is a limitation. Panel lighting's all set, window heats will turn on, probe heats off for now, voice recorders on, packs are auto already, isolation valves open. We're cruising at 29,000 feet. Just check the elevation our destination, Comiso. No, Comiso, not Cosimo. I keep saying that. Elevation is 750 feet. 750 feet set. 56, no. 50, no. When it starts boiling, no. No, 45. Burley's the closest. No, Lights 00 is. Lights 00's just said it. No. Keep them coming. I might have to double check now. It's never really a sort of a limit you'd expect here. Let me just fit. Light 00 is very close. Light 00 correct. 49 degrees, I believe, is the maximum fuel temperature. I'm pretty confident it's that. But yeah, for that temperature you just don't see unless you're obviously probably in Q8 or something like that at the height of summer. Something you definitely need to be aware of. Right, that's all set up here. Flight directors are on. The SID we're flying is the Dimi 1 Foxtrot. So let me just check the chart here, get the setup. So runway 34, climb on 344 until 2 miles from the Goritza VOR. So that's 1088. We've got a bit of a loopy SID here. Once we're there, it's 294 instead of 294 from Goritza. And then we're going to have to do a right turn back to the VOR, then to Kakira. What a SID this is. I'll show it to you in a second. It's going to be, what, just having a look at the radials. 210, turn right Gritzer, inset 210 from Gritzer to Idimi, then join the Idimi departure. That's a SID and a half, so we're going to put 210 and whatever that inbound is. 210, okay, 210 here. Yeah, this SID is a looper. So that's set. Gritzer's all set as well. Also set this to the runway QDM, which is 344. Reset. Autobrake to RTO. Reset FMC. His legs, and that's all set there. Perfect. We've done all the setup here. Or would you delay refueling to avoid it heating up? Yeah, only in extreme temperatures, because usually they're kept in tankers or underground tanks, and they're cool, but I've never seen anything hotter than 35 degrees. Right, so let's grab the clearance. There is a centre online. I am not sure if he'll provide ATC. Seeing there's a Corfu ATIS, it makes me think he would. I've tuned it up here. Καλησπέρα. Yeah, in Greek, when you say yasa, it says hello and goodbye, isn't it? You can say it for both. Martin, that's live for X-Ray 12. Always hoping for the next update, which is supposed to make it good finally. So he's controlling Athens as well. He's very busy. RP approach 27, where's that in Greece? God, he's busy. Is it? Do I talk to this guy? That's so good. I think he would, because it is in our area. Right, well, whilst we're waiting until he gets a gap in the departure, to get our departure clearance, let's just do a little briefing for you guys. So usually we get our clearance now. Let me bring up Navigraph for you. So, lovely routing today, leaving Corfu, over the eastern part of the Mediterranean, just south of Italy, essentially. So I didn't have to get too many Ortho tiles. Ooh, what's that? That's the caution for hydraulics. I've absolutely no idea what's triggered the hydraulic pressure light there. Send him a PM if you're not sure, I will do. Yeah, I'll just finish this briefing there. So lovely routing, flight time about an hour. Taxi, the stands here in Corfu are all incorrect on the gateway here. They were changed about a couple of years ago. So you can see, look, they're all forward facing towards the terminal now with pushback. Here they've got the old layout where it's all remote stands. I think this guy's probably got the right scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And also I have the flight app scenery for X-Plane 11. That's all outdated. I doubt they'll ever update that. But yeah, we'll taxi Alpha 1, backtrack for runway 34. This is the famous part of the airport with the bridge where everyone takes their pictures. And then the SID is the Idimi departure. Idimi 1 Foxtrot. There we go. So it goes like this. We climb straight ahead, 2 miles, left turn, max 210 knots, 294 outbound, until we get to 12 miles from Goritza. That's the Lima point here, I believe. Just go here to plan. Just make sure it looks correct. So there's the point there. Delta 294 Lima, which is 12 miles away. That makes sense being Lima. Then it's going to be a right turn. Right turn back to the VOR, look, so we're going to come back towards the airport to the Goritza VOR, and then it's sort of like a fly-by waypoint, look, so you can see this got this wide turn, and then we're going to go outbound 210 towards Idimi, which is down here to the south. So the takeoff is here, left turn, outbound, loop round over the airport, left turn 210. So that is the SID. Looks all correctly coded. Happy with what we see in the FMC. One other thing we need to do is the engine out SID. So airlines have engine out SIDs because there's a lot of terrain here. If you go in a straight line with an engine failure, you're going to hit a mountain off runway 34. So let me just show you here. You take off in this direction. Look, If you have an engine failure, you don't want to keep climbing ahead because you're going to hit that. So we do have an engine out procedure here. So what we need to do is 3 miles from Goritza. We'll go to the fix page to build this. GAR/3. We start a right turn to the Kakira VOR, Kilo Romeo Kilo. So we'll put that in box 2. So when you actually look here on the ND, you'll help to see it now. So there we are. We'll go straight ahead to this 3 mile point. Right turn to Kakira, hold there, and there is a published hold at Kakira, which is 317 left-hand turn to go to 4,000 feet. Right, so that's the taxi briefing, Sid, all briefed. We just need to get our clearance, do the checks, and get out of here. Let's tune on in. This guy is flat out. I'll just message him. I DM'd him. Hello, are you providing agency for Corfu? Yeah, it's very busy. I might log off as well.
November 84 Victor, Corfu standard level clearance to Comiso.
Oh, someone's coming to Comiso with me. Right, well, whilst we're waiting for that, he's in the queue. Let's do the checks.
Safety inspection checklist. Surfaces and chocks.
Checked.
Maintenance status.
Checked.
Battery.
On.
Electric hydraulic pumps.
On.
Landing gear lever.
Down.
Ship's library.
Checked.
Safety inspection checklist complete.
Perfect. Do the before start checklist to a line.
Before start checklist to the line. IRS mode selectors.
Nav.
Gear pins.
Removed.
Light test.
Not again.
Oh no, I didn't actually do that. Nor did I do the oxygen test, so let's do that. Perfect, and the light test as well.
Checked.
That's why we have checklists.
Tested 100%.
Yaw damper.
On.
Nav transfer and display switches.
Normal and auto.
Fuel.
So that's the light test completed. Let's have a look at the fuel. So for this sector, we require a minimum block of 5.9 tonnes. We've got 6.3 on board, and that's sufficient for our sector.
Checked.
Fuel pumps.
4 pumps on.
Cabin util IFE galley power.
On.
Emergency exit lights.
Armed.
Fasten belts.
On.
Window heat.
On.
Air conditioning.
PEX auto. Bleeds on.
Pressurization.
So, pressurization, we've got 290750 sets. Now, have a look at the window heat, guys. Can anyone notice anything that is unusual with the window heat here and explain what's different and why? See if anyone notices.
Set.
Pressurization mode selector.
Auto.
Instruments.
Cross-checked.
Auto brake.
RTO.
Hydraulics.
Normal.
Speed brake.
Down D10.
Only just.
Parking brake.
2,800 is the minimum PSI.
Stab trim
Usually that's
cutout
bang on
switches.
2,980 or
Normal.
3,000.
Wheel well fire warning.
Not again.
We did do that. Could be a little glitch with this checklist, which I've been having issues with. I have done a full reinstall of it, but that should have been satisfactory. Look, wheel well lights illuminated, so it's doing its little glitchy thing again.
Checked.
Radios, radar and transponder.
Very good. Well done, Brendan. No green lights on, and I-69 turtles answered wide. Window heat is at the required temperature because there's
Set
a massive
and
amount of
by.
heat on it.
Rudder and aileron trim.
Very good.
3 and 0.
Takeoff
And 2 tons
briefing.
got it right. Astro on lights are off. On lights, very good. Very, very good. Everyone knew.
Discussed.
PA.
Complete.
Complete.
FMC CDU.
There we are. So take off for me and legs
Set.
there.
N1 and IAS bugs.
N1 and IIS auto. V-speed set.
Stab trim.
Set.
Performance, weight and balance.
That's all good.
Checked.
EFB.
No bleeds off
Airplane mode
takeoff.
installed.
Phones.
Off.
Flight deck windows and cockpit door.
Ah, this.
Yes, that's fine. That's open. We'll close that shortly. We'll track the stairs, close the doors, and we'll skip that checklist.
Closed.
Doors.
Not again.
It's working on it. Working on it.
Closed.
Very good.
Passengers.
Seated.
Before start checklist completed to the line.
Excellent. Now, guys, general consensus. I haven't even heard a gap in the radio here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 aircraft here. I need to backtrack, so there's delayed departure for 10 minutes every departure. So it could potentially be 40 minutes until I get airborne. Anyone mind if I log off? If there was dedicated ATC, of course, I'd do it, and then we'll get back on online, because I've got one area controller controlling the entirety of Greece. I've had a look on the VATSIM map. There's about 20 aircraft there. So just to get the show on the road, get on our way. I'm just going to log off for departure. It's just easier for me on this one today. If it was a dedicated event though, I'd be doing it. But yeah, thanks. I'm sure people who have joined me will be annoyed, and I do appreciate that. But what? I keep getting a master caution hydraulics here. Look, master caution hydraulics, but there's no light illuminating. Is it the overheat light maybe blipping up? Who knows? But it keeps illuminating. We'll keep a look on that. But yeah, just to get the show on the road, I will log off and go from there. Marmite Pilot, great question. How can you tell it's at the right temperature and not a fault? Look, it's coming on again. I bet it's to do with the temperatures. Because if there was a fault, you get the overheat lights illuminate with that on. And to test the lights in the real aircraft, you push these buttons in. So I would push each one of these in just to make sure the bulbs haven't blown as well. Look, I saw it. It's the engine hydraulic pumps turning off and on. That's a bug. So I'll let ZIBO know. Something is causing these to illuminate. This is the engine-driven hydraulic pump. So this would suggest the engines are running. So I have no idea what's causing that. Maybe it's to do with the fact that it could be that the wind is causing these to windmill, but it wouldn't windmill up to a speed to cause the engine hydraulic pumps lights to blink. And I think when the engines are off, they sort of automatically illuminate low pressure. So I'll look into that. Maybe don't log off at ATC in real life, but that seems fine. Brilliant. Right, we've done everything we can do then, so we'll get the aircraft configured for departure. So it's 40 degrees here. We're going to have to do it, but we're going to have to turn the packs off for the first engine start. You need to do at least this for the first engine start because there's not sufficient pressure from the APU bleed to start an engine. So it gets hot so quickly when it's over 30 degrees. So we'll just wait for the cabin to secure, which we've gotten, and we'll do the checks below the line.
Before start checklist below the line. Air conditioning packs.
Off.
Anti-collision light.
On.
Parking brake.
Just to show you, look.
Set.
Transponder.
Out of.
Before start checklist
Look.
complete.
See the needle moving? I've zoomed in very far, but you can see it. Look how the temperature. This is the cabin temperature already increasing. So you actually see that in reality too. Right, let's start engine number 2, and what we'll do is the isolated pack start. So we get the engine number 2 started. We'll get the air conditioning pressure at the pack on the right side on auto, and then we'll start engine number 1. Just provides conditioned air into the cabin. Then we know that is the hydraulics bug. So let's monitor this. N2, N1, oil pressure, 25%, fuel on, check the spar valve, goes from dim to bright and off. Monitoring engine number 2 from outside. 2 tons, added to check this, ground crew completed frying eggs on fuselage, brilliant. There we are, looks like a good start on engine number 2. Starter cut out on monitoring engine number 2. We've got 2, 4, 6, 3, 2 stable, and the isolated pack start. We move the isolation valve to close, right pack to auto. So now the right pack's providing conditioned air into the cabin, and we've still got APU bleed providing pressurised air to start engine number 1. So we'll start engine number 1 now. Hayden, thanks for the 22 months. Woohoo! It's been 22 months. He says, thank you very much for continued support, buddy. Hope you're doing well. 2 smiling faces as well. Have you got to say, Anthony? What's your forecast there? Oh, it's not a banter. 41. What is it in Minneapolis? I wonder. N2. Oil pressure. N1. Fuel coming in. Perfect, looks good here. So starter cut out, monitoring engine number 1, 2, 4, 6, 3. 1 is stable, and what we'll do straight away is put the conditioned air in for both the from both packs there. Right, so this is where it gets a bit interesting, because we have obviously discussed for performance reasons that we need to complete the checklist for the no engine bleed takeoff. Oops, I've accidentally closed it here. So I've just obviously reconditioned reconfigured the cabin to get some conditioned air into the aircraft, but we need to do a bleeds off takeoff, and for that we actually have a specific checklist which I'd love to show you, but it's proprietary data for the company, so I can't show it to you exactly. Now essentially what we're doing, we're configuring the aircraft for no engine bleed takeoff, which provides us with about an extra 1% of power, 0.8% thrust for departure, and that is the difference for us completing our performance. We cannot actually take off safely with bleeds on today. The performance is so tight. So what I'm going to do is follow my operator's no engine bleed takeoff checklist in, before taxi no engine bleed checklist. So firstly, it asks if anti-ice is required for taxi out. It's not today, and what's usually done, this is the first officer reading this checklist and the captain actions it. So we put the generators on, the APU is left on, start switches to continuous, probe heat selected on, anti-ice, wing and anti-ice is not required, right pack switch to auto, isolation valve switch closed, left pack switch auto, engine number 1 bleed air switch off, bleed APU air bleed is on, engine number 2 bleed air switch is off, flaps will now configure for departure to flap 5. There we are, and we'll now check the flight controls. So you can see my iPad right in front of me to check everything there. So full forwards, and full back, full left, and full right. We'll check the rudders, full left and full right. So flight controls have been checked, and the oh no, I've done this in the wrong order. So flaps, this is why there's 2 of us. 5 required, 5 selected, green lights. Stab trim is set, 6.5 units required, 6.5 units set. Flight controls we've just checked. Recall we can now check as well, and it looks like now we've got the engines running. The low pressure lights extinguished. So what this configuration has done, we've got no engine bleeds, we've got full power available from the engines, the APU is left running for departure, and the APU is providing conditioned air to the cabin still to the left pack, and we could keep this configuration all the way up to 18,000 feet if we had to, but we get this done on the after takeoff checklist. So it looks a bit wonky and weird, but that is the correct configuration for departure. Don't turn off the APU, and it's quite common on this checklist to accidentally turn off the APU. Right, so I'm not going to read the before taxi checklist here because that's based off normal configuration. There isn't one for the bleeds off, and we'll taxi out to runway 34. So parking brake, intro. Ooh, it's a good job I checked this. I think for the last stream in the flight factor, I accidentally I've changed the parking brake command from here. So let me just bear with me, guys. Just need to change this. Holding brakes regular, and I think that's set to the flight factor 757. Yeah, 1 sim. So let me just brakes, toggle brakes, regular effort, apply that one. There we go. It's now the default one. Right, so parking brakes released. We'll do a quick config check. So we go all the way up there and straight back down, and you can see, look, nice slow spool up time. Right, don't tell me I've left the chocks in. Don't tell me we've sunk into the tarmac as well, but it could be a little bit... Oh, God, look, I've got 44% M1 here. Oh, wait, I'm stuck. What's causing this? I'm stuck. This is alarming. Ground services. Where's chocks? Set chocks, remove chocks. What if I go idle? Do I go backwards? I'm stuck, guys. Press N. I'm just going to absolutely blast. Now, obviously, if it's happened in real life, that's it. It's game over. Because we can't go over 40. But you can sink into the tarmac in real life. No, look. I'm not moving anywhere. What's happened? 92%. Brakes melted. I've never seen this in X-Plane. No failed systems. What has caused me to get stuck here? Brakes? B? No, brakes are off. I'm just going to do something a bit non-standard. That's worked. What on earth was that? Alright, let's just try and go forward now. Okay, that's sorted it. That was very peculiar. What on earth has caused that? we're on our way now. But funnily enough, this is not models here, but if it's extremely hot, there's something called PCN, which are taxi weight limits, and it's not usually to do so much with that, but certain taxiways there's a maximum weight they can hold due to the weight of the aircraft. But it happened to a colleague of mine once. He was at an airport and it was extremely hot, and they were on stand, a remote stand, started engines, taxied off, and the aircraft had actually sunk about an inch into the tarmac. So he went up to about 45% M on both engines. The aircraft was not budging, and the ground crew, who didn't have headsets, some airports don't have headsets, came up knocking and told him to shut the engines down. And they'd sunk an inch into the ground. So yeah, maybe that's modelled, I don't know. But no, I've never seen that here in the mod. Just using reverse thrust seemed to help getting me out there. But now look, I'm at idle, and it's back to the excellent sort of inertia taxi physics we like in this. Right, so there's no ATC, we just logged off here just to get away. But in Corfu, if I just bring up the charts here, we're going to enter, backtrack, and depart over runway 34. So we'll start the before takeoff checklist now.
Before takeoff checklist to the line. Config.
Checked.
Flaps.
Flaps 5 set. Green light.
Stab trim.
Set.
Takeoff briefing.
So, unusual configuration here. So the packs are auto, but the bleeds are off for the no engine bleed takeoff. And the V-speeds are set for departure, 38, 40, 48 set on the MCP. The departure is the Idimi 1 Foxtrot. The Idimi 1 Foxtrot. We're going to be climbing straight ahead 2 miles from the Goritza VOR, left turn, and are going to go out until we get to a distance of 12 miles, right turn back to the Goritza VOR, then a right turn, 210 outbound, towards Idimi. The stop altitude would have been given by ATC. Let's just go to the MSA, which is 4.5. So we'll go to we'll stop at 5,000 feet, or well, you know what? We'll just do continuous climb because we're going to be going all the way up here to 290. It's NADP2. If we have any problems with the engines or an engine out departure, we'll climb straight ahead to the 3 miles off the Goritza VOR, which is active here, and then we're going to make a turn to the Kikira VOR, stop climb at the MSA 4,000 feet to hold at Kikira. So that's it, reviewed. Let's check if the cabin's ready. So we'll just flick that and push the 10 button. That just gets the trigger in the mod for cabin secure. And we'll imagine we've been cleared to line up and wait.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Excellent. So lights, strobes, weather radar, airport icon, transponder to TARA. So MCP is now set, transponder TARA, strobe lights are on, and we'll mention be clear to take off. The latest surface wind here in Corfu, I'll just grab that off the METAR, so I'm looking where I'm going, is 3, it's refreshing now, it's Cavalcade 290 at 15 knots, so yeah, we definitely need to take off this runway here for performance. And guys, we're going to use every inch of this runway. It's a takeoff field length limited performance calculation, meaning that if we stop at V1, we're going to use all that runway up, and we're going to clear the end of the runway by, in the event of an engine failure, by 50 feet. So it is tight, but it's all within limits legally. Excellent. I was only here a week and a half ago. It's not bad for stock scenery. This is not bad. There's a lot more trees here, and these trees are not here at all. These are all buildings up here, and you get a great view of a restaurant, people looking down. But there's a bridge here in Corfu. In the summer, you got almost 100 people on there watching all the aircraft land. Perfect. So when backtracking, we can go up to 50 knots if we want to. I never really do, sort of go up to 35, 40. Maximum taxi speed on a taxiway is 30 knots. This is usually sufficient. Perfect. But yeah, it's always performance limiting Corfu in the summer. If it's temperatures like this, it's going to be hard work to get out of Corfu today if you've got to go back to the UK or even further north than that. Runway 16 is usually a little better for performance anyway, and there's no terrain on departure, but it's too strong a wind today. Right, use all the turning pad. It's very uncanny this. I've been to Corfu a lot here. The runway in Corfu though is old. Oh no, I've hit something. Look, which has stopped the plane again. Did you see that? I think I've hit this. I wonder if it's to do with the ortho. Look, I've hit this wall again. Look. That's what happened on the taxiway. I think it's to do with going off the runway. Look, it's going to be a terrain ortho thing, isn't it? Oh, damn. Let me just... This is obviously unrealistic. It's an ortho thing. It seems they're reversing out. Oh, that's not working. I'm stuck. Someone call a tow truck. God damn it. Right, hold on. I know how to fix this. Thank you, Explain 12. Hopefully that has sorted it. No! Ah, dear. Something. It's got to be ortho related. Ah, there's something I'm getting stuck in here. Right. Let me just go back a bit more. Oh no. Oh what? No. Surely not. I'm stuck, guys. I am absolutely glued to the ground. What the hell has caused this? I don't know what to do. I've never, ever, ever... Someone's saying press B. No, it's not. It is B! Really? What's B doing? So it is a brake issue. Oh my goodness me. What's B doing? So if I press B, look, it's stopping the aeroplane. If I press B again, it rolls. What on earth is that? What's B and explain? What's B and explain? I've never, ever, ever seen that. Brake bindings. Ah, right, look, if I push B, there you go, look, it's getting stuck. B is parking brake. It's not moving my parking brake, though. I've never... Right, well, I'm unassigning that, guys. B is brakes in X-Plane 12. Well, it makes sense, but I've never pushed the B button. Anyway. Oh, the taxiing in this is beautiful, though. Look at that. You can turn it on a dime, just like the real aeroplane. Right. Issues fixed. Ah, I've got it. I think you're right. Listen, I'm fairly certain it has to do with your Flight Factor 757 control profile. I changed it all when I flew the Flight Factor 757. That will be it. I've done something there with that. Right, anyway, let's get on our way to Comiso timing. And we're going to use all this runway here. Let's finally go. So, a little bit more. Just want to make sure this B button... Yeah, look, I'd pressed it again. So, stabilised. Set takeoff thrust. Definitely something funky going with the brakes on here. Oh, is it braking? Oh, don't start braking. I think it's braking. No, I don't think it is. Well, we'll soon find out because we're going to go see the trees.
50 knots.
Check to release forward pressure. No, that's normal acceleration now. Across them from the left, we're using right rudder to maintain sense line, which is as I'd expect. Perfect. That's exactly what I'd expect here. Whoa, what's happened to the thrust? I don't know what happened there, I lost a bit of thrust there.
Positive rate.
Get back up to target thrust, positive rate climb, gear up. I think that was just a bit of, it just updated to where my thrust lever was. God, that would make your heart go blip. LNAV. There we are, back to where we need it. Yeah, flying nicely.
1,000.
Alright, bug up. Oh, that's not working today. Great. Do it manually. The AFDS has been completely overhauled for X-Plane 12. It's working really nicely. It would be a little lower here, he says, when it working really nicely, but we can go to flap 1. There we go. Now it's lowering. So, 2 miles. Here's the left turn. Flyby soon. Trim's good. And above the 1 bug, selecting flaps up. Once you get above 2,000 feet, X-Plane 12 Ortho looks wonderful. Slightly overshot the magenta line, but remember this is an intercept track point. The real aircraft, it sort of updates itself automatically. Right, so 3,000 feet, flaps up, no lights, VNAV. The maximum speed for that turn is 210, so it's going 230. That's fine. It'll accelerate shortly. The flight director is going to pitch up to get back to 213 knots, set standard. So overshot this. I need to talk to ZIBO about this. It's going slightly too far left. There we are. Now it's going to make a right turn to intercept the outbound. And as soon as we pass that intercept point, it should accelerate to 250 knots as well. There we are, 230. I think that's the initial speed limit. So 230 knots to maintain until Goritza. Okay. So right turn now, and then we're going to come back over the airport shortly. Right, I'm actually going to get the automation in because I need to do the after takeoff no engine bleed checklist here because the aircraft's not configured for the rest of the sector. So QRH, no engine bleed after takeoff checklist completed by the pilot monitoring. So engine 2 bleed air switch on, APU bleed air switch off. Now what we do in the real aircraft, we monitor this. There's usually a little blip in the rate of climb. Wait until the cabin rate of climb stabilises, which it has done, and we can now place number 1 engine bleed air switch on, isolation valve switch to auto, APU off, start switches to off, gear off, auto brake off, check the air conditioning and pressurisation. So diff pressure 3.0 climbing, keep the temperatures where they are, set. Flaps are up, no lights. Altimeter standard set, passing 8.6 at flight level 290 after takeoff checklist completes. Release the crew, and let's just monitor the performance on the SID. Go to the airports tab. Oh yeah, I need to connect Navigraph, great. And not to worry, we'll check the SID here. There you go, look, we're routing beautifully and accurately on the outbound part of this sector. It looks like this chart isn't compatible, but here look, it's 4,500 feet or above at the Lima point, which we are doing, and 230 knots to maintain until we're overhead the Goritza VOR. So we're doing this right turn now, 180 degrees to go back over Corfu, and then a sharp right turn to Indimi. Great. Scenery is looking spectacular. There we are, passing 118 for flight level 290. We'll keep the speed at 230 knots for the restrictions. Do the pre-cruise check. So fuel 4 pumps. We've got a difference of 50 kilos, or no, 70 kilos. We'll keep an eye on that. That's because of the AP running on the ground. Lights coming off. APU verify off, pressurization 4.5 set, seatbelts on, recall, and monitoring 1215. We'll log on to CPDLC, which unfortunately isn't modelled yet in the mod, and checks complete. There we are. Yeah, not bad by the mod. It was sort of the intercept point was slightly wrong here, but this curved turn at 230 knots is beautifully modelled. Look at the trend vector, bang on it, very nice. Beautiful. There's the whole island of Corfu. ETA guys, with the circle included, 1700 Zulu, so just under an hour. Yeah, really interesting with the B. I'm going to have to disable that command. I've never used B in X-Plane. I must have knocked it or something. Ah, I think I know what it is. Every time I'm modulating the brake, I reckon it's setting the brakes fixed on regular. Interesting. Interesting. Scenery. Do like Corfu. Uros, can we fly back to Corfu? Don't want this holiday to end. Oh, sorry. This of it says, does CPDLC work below 25,000 feet? I think that's the control is only allowed above that. Yeah, I mean, it works on the ground list of it. You can use it to collect your or it's usually via ACARS, but you can use it to get information on the ground. We turn it on or use it above 10,000 feet on my operator on the climb map. Joshua says, how do you know when to use climb 1, climb 2? Because I never know which one to use. So we don't actually select climb 1 or climb 2. We just calculate the takeoff performance from the OPT and let it default to whatever the climb performance is. If we clear to a higher level, we delete the climb restriction in the FMC, which is a little bit more efficient to do so. Amantha, have you tried Auto Ortho? I haven't. I've heard good things about it, but I don't mind for now just downloading the few tiles I do. I download my Ortho tiles on a stream-by-stream basis, so I only had to download about 6 for this sector today. I hope you're doing well, Andy. H1302 afternoon, folks. You're usually early finish today. It's been ages since I've seen a stream. Hope you're doing well. Hope your work was okay. Not too hot on the bus. Well, it's not too hot here in the UK for you at all. Excellent. You can use different profiles for different planes in X-Plane. Yes, Martin, I know. I do have some profiles pre-saved, but I don't have all the 7.5. Anyway, look, we're almost back where we started. Directly overhead Corfu. Let's have a look outside. There we go. Look, that's where we took off from. Our departures usually take us north-west, but this one's taking us back towards the airport to then head southeast to Sicily. So again, max 230 for the departure here. Usually you'd be given free speed or something like that, so just to keep the shot there, I'm going to go direct, it clears direct to Dinob, and there you go, straight up to 293 knots. Using reserve fuel, it does this sometimes. We've got 2.7, the reserves 2.6. Let's go down quick. The reserves are 2.6. What? Wow, actually that was an accurate message. Why such low fuel? We took extra. I wonder if the SID in the flight plan allowed for this long departure. This is one of the limitations that Navigraph and SimBrief have. No, but it's got all the points, look. Overhead Goritza, 8 minutes airborne, 9 minutes. We should have burnt a ton of fuel. We've used a ton. Why are we using? I think this could be a ZIBO mod issue. I would place money on this going up, saying 2.6 at the moment, because we burned the exact amount of fuel we should have done. The SID is actually routed. Did you turn the APU off? Yes. APU's off as per the after takeoff no engine bleed checklist. Yeah, the B business, I was obviously having to set a very high amount of thrust, but it was only for a very brief period of time. Not enough to really have a significant increase in fuel burn. Yeah, I think it probably could be what I've assigned the brakes to in the ZIBO mod. Mavericks, ZIBO always seems a bit fuel hungry. Yeah, I've always found it's very, very good. In its development, there's been a few little issues here and there, but the last few streams I've had are fine. But you can see it's already increased to 2.7. Look, there you go. Look, it was on 2.6. It's now gone up to 2.8. I should think that's going to go up because we took an extra, what was it, 400 kilos of fuel. So 2.6 on top of that, so it should be about 2.93 tons. Dave, my car burns more fuel when I leave the handbrake on. It's yeah. Also probably knackers your handbrake. It probably melts. Oh, Andy, you've been should have been going to Woburn Safari. They hadn't even booked a trip. Manager's an idiot. Can we borrow Jim, please, to be an improvement? I've been years since I went to Woburn Safari. I've been there before. Don't forget, members, group flight on Saturday early in the morning. Bookings are open. Check out the Discord MogF bookings channel. Brady, could it be the fuel density increasing? No, that's not going to change the fuel burn. We'll be monitoring that on the climb out. We had a lovely hot, warm fuel in Corfu. You can see it's just below 30 degrees now, 27 degrees there. Cabin temperature should be nice and cool now as well. Yeah, 20 degrees. Keep them there. Joshua, have you ever flown into or out of Glasgow Prestwick, particularly empty whenever I go? No, not been up there. That's it's where the space shuttle was meant to land, wasn't it, in the event of an emergency? Anthony, have a lovely flight on Saturday. I'm not going anywhere on Saturday. Norfolk, we're driving. Or are you referring to somewhere you're going? I'm not so sure. Mavericks, yes it is. Very early UK morning time. Listerman, does SimBrief correctly calculate low performance due to the temperature? It seems it does. What performance are you referring to, Listerman? Oh, Anthony, sorry. Yes, of course. The MOGF. Yes, we will do. The MOFG. Luke would like to join the MOGF, but a bit nervous with so many people. There's always going to be a first time for everything. Come join us on Saturday. Jim Lee, question, when will the brakes turn red after landing? About 300 degrees? I have absolutely no idea. If the brakes are red, you brake too hard. You brake too hard, yeah. But funny enough, talking about temperature, it's obviously something you need to consider today, is overheating those brakes. Joshua, just curious, pilots have a base airport, does that mean they only fly and land at base, or fly at other airports and stay overnight in that location? Good question. It will vary from airline to airline, so I have a base, but it's quite common to fly out of base, so in the last sort of 3 months, I'd say I've been out of base 3 or 4 times, and when I say out of base, I'm rostered a flight out of base, so overnight if I'm on an early or ground transport if it's a late flight. Sometimes you can get called off a standby to operate and they'll offer you a taxi, or you drive yourself, reclaim the expenses, or get there at any other means. But it depends really. I'd say on average 1 or 2 times a month. Some months less so, some more so, some others more so. Listen, I meant higher, lower fuel burn dependent on temperature. Well, it's negligible really. Again, Lido, the flight plan, is it has all the data and information to find or file the most optimal flight level. But the thing that's most restrictive in this situation, list of it, is airspace. You know, Lido will do its absolute best to put you at the optimum level, but you know, ATC will come back when they file the flight plan saying no, that flight plan's at maximum capacity. So it might be the flight plan says on a sector. I've had flight plans from sort of Spain to the UK, 2.5 hour sectors. We capped at flight level 290. Obviously, very inefficient. But you know, your flight plan for it, and you know, you can request higher, and if they've got the space, you can do. So I don't know if temperature has much of an impact. If so, it's negligible, nowhere near as amount of the impact of being capped from ATC. Great question there by John Popham. A question for you. If you're landing at a high altitude airport like Mexico City, which is at 7,000 feet, when would you look to do your checks, example, to configure light seatbelts? Great question. Yeah, so it's actually not written down. What I do, and I brief this, is look, we'll do the post-cruise checks at 10,000 feet above aerodrome level. So 7,300 Mexico, I'd do those checks at 17,300 feet. That then allows everything to sort of fall into places for what you're expecting it to do. There we are, 29,000 feet reached. 15 minutes after departure. We're approaching Dinob in a little over 3 minutes. We'll do a fuel check there. Our top of descent is going to be at 37, so just under half an hour, about 25 minutes from now. And as I said, we'll be doing the circle approach. In fact, could someone get me the weather for Comiso in chat? It's not because I'm being lazy, it just allows everyone to see it as well. The code is Lima India Charlie Bravo. I'm not going to talk about that, Santi. Kat, how often is Flap 1 used for high temperature ops? Is climb performance less of an issue? I've never had to use Flap 1 for performance reasons, Kat. It's very rare. You're sort of talking Salzburg, Innsbruck sort of places. I actually, out of curiosity, had a Corfu here, fiddled with the flap settings to find the most optimal one. It's Flap 5. 99.9% of the time it's Flap 5 because it gives you overall good takeoff, roll and climb performance. Anything over Flap 5, you're really eating into your climb performance there, and it really drops your maximum or RTOW weight, whereas Flap 1 only does a small amount. Thanks Deep Space for getting the weather here, and 2 tons. So we've got 1100 Zulu. That's old. Yeah, night. I think yours is very old, D-Spot, so I'll go with 2 tons Nightbot there. Ah, right, okay. Well, with that wind at 2105 knots, if you are landing here in real life, you'd actually land off the ILS because it's got a 15 knot tailwind approval. So you'd land on 05 with a tailwind. However, I'm going to ask the question, would you like me to fly the circle to land the ILS? I think I know what the answer is. We'll still do the circle. 2105 still favours runway 23, but you will always avoid circling if possible due to the threats associated with it. Company don't like you doing it, and it's obviously full of risks and things like that. So it sort of is a last ditch attempt. But we'll do the circle. The wind's certainly favouring the circle. And when I think before the stream, when I published the stream, it was something like 15 knots. So it was exactly going to be. Have to be the circle. And exactly, if you look at the video title, I'd have to rename it. I'm not going to call it Higher Temperature Operations ILS into Comiso. No one's going to click on it. As if you asked the question, Liam. I know. Mavericks, can you do the triangle to land, please? Absolutely. But anyway, talking about high temperature operations. Does anyone have any questions about that? Right, there really, for sort of departure, isn't a huge amount to it. It's more about managing the cabin temperature, getting the APU bleed on, configuring the aircraft for a no engine bleed. That was more a Corfu issue. If you've got a long enough runway, you shouldn't need to do that. But for the arrival, there really isn't a huge amount of issues with high temperatures. But the one thing you've got to be aware of is high energy approaches. So I put a pinned comment up there. I did a tutorial about cold temperature altimetry error and how it's really important to adjust for these temperatures if it's below freezing to ensure that you don't get low, because an altimeter will overread when it's very cold, but when it's a extreme heat temperature, or like we're having Comiso today, what's the temperature? 39-40 degrees. What's the altimeter going to be doing? And how could that be an issue? And this is why I wanted to fly an X-plane today, because Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't model cold or hot temperature altimetry error, whereas in X-plane it's modelled, and it's modelled exactly as per the tables. So it's something you've got to take into mind in real life and in X-plane 12. Exactly, Brendan. Yeah, the altimeter, when it's above ISA, is under readings. The height at which it's indicating, you're actually higher than that. So from a terrain, control flight into terrain, which is a key operational risk area, it's actually safer because you're higher. However, what's that going to have an impact of? It's high energy, because you're higher than you actually are. You've got to manage that energy, and you'll see that today. VNAV is not temperature compensated, so VNAV, the profile, it'll leave you high, and you see it on the line all the time when you're flying into places like Corfu. It's an RNAV approach, so you're using VNAV, or if you fly any non-precision approach using VNAV and it's hot, sort of above 25-30 degrees, it always leaves you high. You'll see it on the patnies, you'll see it, the picture doesn't look right, and that's because it's under reading and everything's based off the altimeter and VNAV. So it's something to bear in mind there. Julian was saying here, what was it? Well, no, circle to land. Do we expect an early glide slope intercept with a higher true altitude? Right. So no, the other way around. You'll be higher. So yes, you'll intercept the glide slope sooner. But if you end up high on the glide slope on VNAV, you need to do something to get back onto the glide slope. You'll see it today, because we're going to use VNAV for the approach, not the ILS for the circle, and VNAV will leave us high. You'll see the glide slope will be below us, and that is absolutely true and correct to the real aircraft, which is one reason I like flying this sim. Rohit says, does EGT get affected in these conditions? No, there's no limitation associated with temperature. It probably does, but nothing that you need to be aware of. Xavier, good question. Do you end up compensating using vertical speed mode in order to remain on the real glide path? So prior to glide slope capture, you can use whatever mode you like, but yes, if you're flying an ILS and it's hot, you might want to just use vertical speed on your intercept heading to sort of fly onto the glide slope, and you'll see VNav will say you're slightly low, only by a couple of 100 feet or so. Yeah, it's sometimes enough to sort of allow it. You will see it today. You'll see it today because we'll be flying a procedural approach using VNav. Hopefully, it will put us in the right position. But I did a test sector earlier, and it worked quite well. Well, not a full test sector. I flew the approach, and it worked quite well. Right, looking good over the Mediterranean. Really hot. So there's Italy on the right-hand side coming into view. Looking good. Right, I'm going to jinx this, but we've not had any internet issues today, have we? It's been fine. I've not done anything. The engineer's coming tomorrow. Funny question. I wonder if it's anything to do with Microsoft Flight Simulator when I'm streaming. It's obviously, I think there's a lot more information for my broadband to take in, because obviously X-Plane and Ortho, there's not really a huge amount of information apart from my upload, whereas Microsoft Flight Simulator, if I'm streaming that, I'm obviously uploading to you guys, but I'm having to download scenery on the go as well, so maybe it's just causing it to be overloaded. Because, yeah, the last couple of Microsoft Flight Sim streams, it's been causing problems. Coda 101, when is the correct time to use engine anti-ice? So whenever you're in icing conditions, so that's when there's visible moisture, so cloud, fog, rain, snow, whatever, and the total air temperature here is below 10 degrees Celsius. We use that in the climb typically. In descent, there's no temperature limit. We always turn on engine anti-ice if in icing conditions, so long as the temperature's well, regardless of the temperature. But in climb, once it's below minus 40, we turn engine anti-ice off. I have a tutorial on that if you're so interested. You might find it interesting.
50.
Xavier.
30.
Or Javier, should I say.
20,
Thank you, Mr. Bella, for
10.
your $1 donation. Very kind of you. Coming in from the US. With a balloon and #1. Thank you very much, sir. Daffy, but not the broadband, maybe poor router, possibly. But I've had... but the engineer's coming tomorrow to check it all out anyway, but they did a full diagnostics remotely, which probably doesn't do anything, and they found no faults. So I should think the guy on the phone was very good. I explained the issue, and he said it's likely to be, and I've had it before at my old house, some sort of kink in the fibre line, which is causing these data pack losses. But looking through the log this morning prior to stream, I've not had one for over 24 hours. It's only when I'm streaming, so it makes me think it's that huge amount of data that's being transferred. Welcome aboard there, Sarah Andrew. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Right, 224 miles to go. Okay, everyone, take your screenshots ready. I'm going to show again the circle to land courses and tracks there. See, I don't know if that's going to be clear enough. I should have put this on as a PDF, but is that clear at all? Probably not. If I go closer, it sort of goes a bit blurry. But these are the tracks and timings we're going to be using today for the circle to land. So take a screenshot of that. The members, I'll put that in the live stream channel, and that's what I'll be following during the circle to land approach. Prep that as I would in real life if I was to ever think I'm going to fly a circle. No, can't see it. Doesn't. Sorry about that, guys. Right. Well, what I'll do, I'll quote them to you so you can sort of draw a picture from that. Or what I'll do, should I put it on my Instagram story? Hold on, I'll put it on my Instagram story. That would be the easiest thing to do. And I'll just put for today's stream. Oh yes, that's going to be crystal clear. I'll put, here you go, live chat. Right, so if you go to the Instagram story, you'll be able to see what I'm referring to during the circle to land approach, and I'll tell you how I've come to all of these tracks and figures. Instagram story, uploading. It's posted. Perfect. So you can refer to that, take a screenshot, it'll be very helpful for flying the circle. So I had over control to Jim already. It's been a good stress test for the ZIBO mod. as well. John Popham, you're most welcome. That's what this streaming's all about. Right, so Jim has control. Let's get the descent winds into the FMC. So 250 below 100. I'm going to stay offline for this, guys, just because I want to stress test the mod. If we've got ATC and stopping vectors, this would be a great way of testing LNAV, VNAV, the whole lot. 320 at 26. 200, 016 at 14.
Approaching minimums.
Aviation Sim, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining as a member, or you've been a member already. I believe that's a gold bar to you, so thank you very much for rejoining or re-pipping your membership ping thing. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for your support. Enjoy your custom emojis and chats. There we go. Right, that's in the Q&H in Comiso. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Is 1015. Another thing you might have noticed, I'm not using Active Sky at the moment. I think Explain's live weather is okay for now. I had so many issues with it last stream with disabling. It's been fine. So Ice Deviation, I don't know if this is modelled, but then this allows VNAV to fine tune its descent profile. So what is it? It's 40 degrees or something down there. So it's going to be plus 25 plus about 10 here. So I'll put 20. I don't know if it's modelled or does anything. Fixed wings in, then we'll delete the Galitza and Kakira ones. So for a circle to land, we will need, get the charts for you. We'll need to put some fixed wings in. So you can see here, here's the chart for the ILS approach. So we're going to fly the ILS, or the localizer off the ILS, and then the circle onto 25. Because there's, if you look here on approaches, there's no published approach procedure for 2-3 due to the terrain to the northeast. The only way to fly onto that is either visually or via a circle. So circle's sort of a better way of doing it off an instrument approach. So we're going to do ILS 05 initially, and then we'll circle not authorised to the southeast, obviously because you're going to hit a mountain, so we keep to the north. Now, fixturing wise, we'll have one for the approach runway, runway 05, 10, and here's a good point here. Usual gear down flat 15 point is 4 miles for VMC, 5 miles for IMC. I'm going to do it a little earlier today, 6 miles. The reason is the circling minima here is very, very high. It's 2,050 feet, 1,300 feet AGL. If we do it at 4 miles, we're going to be at 2,070 feet. That's the same point at which we start manoeuvring. You don't want to be going gear down flat 15, levelling off at the MDA, looking for the runway for minimum visibility, turning base leg. The workload's too high. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring the configuration point gear down flat 15 to 6 miles, just 2 miles before, just lowers your workload. So runway 05, that's all sorted. We now need to put some rings in for runway 23, the landing runway. So we're going to go over here to runways 23. We need to put a 4.2 mile ring. This is the Panzops circling manoeuvring area, so we must not fly outside of this ring, and so long as you maintain the MDA, you stay at 4.2 miles from the landing runway, you will be clear of all obstacles and terrain. So it's very important we put that in for situation awareness. And additionally, what we do here, if we look on the airport chart, no, that's not where we're going. Here's the landing runway. We want to put a 90-degree fixed ring or radial off this for situation awareness, because we start our timing on the downwind leg when we're abeam the landing runway. So some mathematics for you. The runway QDM is 228, should be 228, 90 degrees off to the right of this, 318 degrees. We simply put in 318 on the fixed page, and that'll draw a green dashed line. So let's have a look at the picture. On the ND, looks messy, but this all makes sense to me. It's because we're doing the procedural approach. So there we are. We're going to circle. We're going to break off downwind here, and you see that 318 dashed line. That's when we're abeam the landing runway. So it looks messy, but this is the correct picture. This is exactly as I expected to look. So we've sorted out the fixed page. let's now just tune up the ILS. Or no, let's have a look at the star first. So star, look, Mount Etna. This constantly spews volcanic ash and the whatnots. At the moment it's not active, but if this is active, there are special volcanic airways to fly, I think, which keep you clear. I'm unfamiliar because I've not flown into anywhere in Sicily before, but yeah, we'll hopefully see that with Ortho looking very nice. But no active volcano today. We're routing from Notri, which is here on the FMC. Let me just select plan. I just realised you didn't even have the charts open, did I? Let me start that again. Zoom on in, find Notri. There we go. So yeah, as I said, yeah, we're coming in towards Notri. That's the beginning of the star of the airway. Mount Etna to the north of Notri. It's not active today, so we don't have to worry about volcanic ash. From Notri, we're going to route 8 miles to this speed limit point. That's just 25 miles from the Com VOR, and then 25 miles, 5,000 feet. You see, it's 24 miles in the box. Now, there's a little ZIBO-ism going on at the moment. There's these equal signs. There should be no equal sign in the legs page. I've never seen one. I don't know why they're appearing, but it's there. Anyway, once we're overhead Comiso, we can have a rough idea of what height we're at. If we delete this here, we're going to be at 7,900 feet. That makes sense with the elevation. So we can monitor VNAV here, and we'll bring the speed to... Is it 210 knots for the procedure? It's 210. I'm just going to put 220 or below. It's executed. From the Com VOR then, we're going to fly the procedural approach, the CAT C and D. Oh, it is max 210. My apologies, ZIBO. So we'll probably have to go flap 1 for that. So we're going to fly 210 knots to the outbound from Com, track 249. Now, I noticed this earlier, there's a bug. So what we should see here is the track 249. It says 004. I have absolutely no idea why it says 004. Now, looking at the ND, the picture is correct. It's going outbound
50,
Com 9
40,
on the 249 radial on the chart. Thank you very much, Dominic, for your donation there. So I don't know why it says 004. That is a bug. Thanks, Dominic.
Strong work on the problem solving of the BSU.
It wasn't
Captain
me.
And all the best.
Cheers, Dominic Orsina. Thanks for the $9.99 donation. Very, very kind of you. I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for chat. I've been streaming X-Plane for 5 years. I've never known about the B issue. I think it's definitely to do with something I've just assigned to the ZIBO mod brakes, and I think when I triggered the brakes on my control column, it was triggering B as well. So yeah, we worked it out in the end. We made it safely. But thank you very much for your donation. Appreciate it. So yeah, little bug here. It should be 249. It said 004. I don't know. The good news is when we go there, we've got this turn here, and it looks correct after that. We've got the CI05. There's a slight bypass. It's slightly overshooting. So what I'm going to do is bring the speed back before we turn to 180 knots or below and get the flaps out to 5. That should... no, still got a bypass, but it looks better on the ND. Anyway, we'll configure to 180 knots, turn from the procedural turn onto the ILS, and descend to 3,000 feet. And now descent point is the FI05 in the FMC. So where it says FI05, we want to be exactly at 3,000 feet. That's 7 miles off the Com VOR on the chart. And we can see here 7 miles, looks right on the ND, just after 6. So then intercept the glide path, but we're not going to use the ILS, or what I say is we're not going to use the approach mode. The reason is we want to level off on the MDA, and if you use approach, the aircraft will keep descending on the ILS, which you don't want it to do. Look, there's Mount Etna in the distance. So we're going to use Vorlock for the localizer off the ILS, and VNAV for the descent profile. And remember what we were talking about earlier, the temperature in Comiso is 40 degrees, or 38, 40 degrees. VNAV will leave you high. There's nothing you can do about it. Does it really matter today? No, because we're going to level off at the circling height circle. But if we were flying a non-precision approach, like a localizer only, or the VOR approach onto runway 05, you just have to be very aware that the VNAV path will leave you high due to the temperature. Due to the temperature error. There are no corrections for hot temperatures, only cold temperatures, because we want to increase the height from the terrain. You just have to accept that VNAV will leave you high, and the only really way of remedying it is to disconnect early, recycle the flight directors, and then visually fly onto the correct profile, and VNAV will show you high. So I'll show you today when we are on VNAV, the glide slope should be below us. So it shouldn't be much of a difference. Aaron, you'd be surprised. You look at cold temperature correction, sort of the higher you are above the altimetry reference source, the larger the error. So I should think when we turn final, the difference will be 200 or 300 feet. Doesn't sound like much. That's a lot when you get sort of think about vertical profiles and things like that. Closer to runway, it'll be the error will decrease, but it's certainly enough when you're sort of below 500 feet to put you 4 whites on the pappies at these sort of temperatures. So divert to what Iceland said, not a real user. Love that. Right, anyway, talking about the circle to land, what we're going to do is descend to the circling minima. So let's just look on this ILS chart and get everything tuned. So we've got 108.95 active box 1 and active box 2. We'll put the Comiso VOR on standby, 113.45, 113.45. The course is 048. 048. And the minimums for the circle you'll find down here. So it's 2050. What we do at my operator, we round it up to the nearest 100 feet because you can only set the MCP at 100 foot increments. So 2,100 is the MDA, and the RVR requires 2,400 meters. Okay, so that's no problems today. And 2,050 feet will now set as the minimums. Perfect. So that's now, sorry, 2,100 is now set as the minimums. Perfect. So frequencies, courses, minimums are set. What are we going to do with the circle to land approach then? Well, that's where the Instagram story comes in. Useful. Why did I not save this as a PDF? But let's talk about it now. So what we're going to do on the circle to land, we're going to level off at the circling minima at 2,000 feet. So we're going to be about here, look, at a range of 4 miles when we level off here for the circling minima. We're then going to brake left. Okay, the reason is, if you look here, not authorised southeast of runway circling, so it's a FO circle really. He's going to be the best position to look out the window. It's then going to be a left turn, and what we do, we turn left 45 degrees. That track's going to be 003 because it's 45 degrees off this. 003. And when wings level, we fly outbound for 20 seconds minus any tailwind component, half the tailwind component. If we've got a headwind component, we actually add the time. So wings level 20 seconds, and then we turn downwind. The downwind track is 048, and when I say track, you need to alter your heading to ensure you fly this track. And we'll fly outbound until we're abeam the landing runway. Abeam the landing runway. So that's this green dashed line here. Now when we're abeam the landing runway, which is there, we'll continue downwind, and to calculate how long you want to go downwind for, you take this height here. This is the minimum decision height, which is 1294. Bear in mind we're flying 50 feet higher, so we're actually at 2,100. We need to add 50 feet to this. That's 1344. Okay, you get your calculator, you type in 1344 and times it by 3, and it comes out with 4,032. That's 40.3 seconds. Okay, let's call it 41 seconds for cash. That means when we're abeam the runway, we continue flying downwind for 41 seconds minus half the tailwind component. So if we've got a 10 knot tailwind component, that's 5 knots is half. We take that off the 41 second downwind time, so your downwind time would be 36 seconds. I hope you're still with me. And obviously this configuration for this entire manoeuvre is gear down flat 15. Once that time's up, we then turn onto final. We'll select the landing flap, complete the landing checklist, disconnect, recycle flight directors, and land visually. Now there are pappies on runway 23, but they're really difficult to see and explain. I don't know if I think the ortho tile's quite washed out. The pappies blend in, so I can only really see the pappies about 400 feet. But look, we'll try and look at the picture visually and alter what we need to do. But sort of some rough planning I worked out when we turn downwind on final. We want to be from 2,100 circling to around 1,600 feet turning final, which you'll see on the little chart I made. Right, I think we've covered everything regarding the manoeuvre. Let's descend down now to let's go down to 5,000 feet. That's set. We'll monitor VNAV. It's a bit of a busy approach then. Procedural approach. This is a great stress test for the ZIBO mod today. See how it's performing in Explain 12. So we just need to do the landing performance. So what I'm going to do is put in 2-3, and I'll tell you what the brake cooling would be as well, but I'll be using the real world OPT for this. Welcome on board, Richard Bold. Glad you joined the content. You get invited to our members only Discord. Hope you enjoy using the customers chat. Thank you very much for the support. Oops, the throttle's disconnected. I think that was just me moving my thrust levers down. Right, so far so good. It's descending on the vertical profile, holding the speed nicely. We'll keep monitoring that as we descend. So, latest weather conditions. Let's punch this into the OPT. So Comiso 2105. It's dry. Temperature is 38 degrees. Ugh. QNH is 1015. Flat 30 today. No, we're going to do flat 30 actually. It's sufficiently long enough runway. Air conditioning auto, anti-ice off, all brakes, no credit. I don't think you can use it here. You'd need it for brake cooling. Burning 400 kilos before landing, so that's back to what I'd expect to be. Remember we talked about that on takeoff and went down to 2.6. Landing weight, oh, we're very heavy. 0.4, 64.3. We're about a ton off max landing weight. We're so heavy today. Flat 30, order brake. Let's see what we need. 64.3. So this is saying flat 40 order brake 3. That's fine. The airport, we want to vacate at Charlie. If we'll just do a 180 on the runway whenever we can. We don't need to backtrack all the way. So I'll just stop at flat 40 order brake 3, 1862. Let's actually see what the real world OPT says. Thank you, Thomas, for your £2 donation, sir. Very, very kind of you.
Don't forget to replay the landing, sir. Fly safe.
Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate your £2 donation. It's Explain. I don't need to worry about it. It does it always automatically, so I don't need to start any replays at all. But thank you very much for your donation. Right, I'm going to punch all this into the real OPT. So Charlie India Yankee, runway 23, dry, surface wind 2305. Let's see how accurate it is, the real OPT. 38 degrees. QNH is 1015. Flat 40. Landing weight was 64.3. VNAV's doing a great job so far, by the way. Just monitoring it here. So if I was to use no reverse thrust, the brake cooling would be not good. Flat 40 order brake 3 is 45 minutes brake cooling. An hour for max manual. It's just outside the caution zone, but you want to use reverse thrust. The stopping distance was 2203. What did this say? Oh, that's way off. 64.3. I need to have a chat, ZIBO. Flat 40 as well, wasn't it? No, flat 40, that's better. I take it back, ZIBO. Or do I? No, that's way shorter than what the real OPT is saying. Interesting. Right, that needs to be fixed. Max manual 1012. The real OPT is saying 1379. I wonder if the temperature has anything to do with that. It shouldn't do. And if it does, it's not modelled. No. Yeah, so the OPT here, it used to be bang on, it's not. I'll just show you. I'll just match this to the real aircraft. Sorry, not enjoying the beautiful views. There's Mount Etna over there, look at that. Not spewing. VNAV's doing okay, it's a little bit fast, but the real aircraft drifts like this. Yeah, so 64.3 flat 40, that's all exactly the same as the real OPT I've got here. So, look, order brake 3, 1718, the real OPT is showing this. Order brake 3, I don't know if you can see that there, 2203. Caution, look, you can see for 1 and 2 because it's too long. This is with no reverse thrust. Reverse thrust on a dry runway makes no impact on stopping distance. 2203, if I select all up, still the same distance. It's just reduced the brake cooling look to 10 minutes. That's the only change there. So yeah, I'll let ZIBO know the OPT figures are all off. But you can see we'll be using reverse thrust to sort out brake cooling. Yeah, Navigraph, I forgot, but it doesn't matter today. Excellent. Right, I think we've done everything anyway. Descent check's complete. And we'll pop on the seatbelt sign as well. And we're in a left turn now, about to start the arrival into Comiso. There we are, overhead knot tree just south of Mount Etna. Overhead the VOR, and then the procedural approach onto the ILS, then a circle. We're busy. Norfolk's looking on point. What's that? We're just flown over Catania. Catania down there. Look at that. Oh, sorry, boss. I was talking about your internet problems. Oh, I can't remember what we were discussing. It's about the VNAV temperature. Oh dear. Anyway, credit so far. The VNAV path looks spot on today. Looking really good in the mod. The speed can trend up and down slightly based off external conditions. Usually it's quite good, but you can see this happen. You've got several options. You can increase speed, or actually just check the speed braking. It's historically been a bit draggy in X-Plane 12. Yeah, that's better. There's been improvements here. Look at this. No crazy change in rate of descent. Ah, much better. The speed brake drag looks very good. At this sort of speed, speed brakes are effective at higher speed. That's what I'd expect with speed brake in flight D10s. Excellent. Just a bit of noise there. Can't quite see Comiso yet. It's going to be down there somewhere. These are all the hills which prevent them building a straight-in approach. Oh yes, Kat made a good point. I am meant to be in this seat for the circle because we're circling right. I'll try. I think. Oh, that's another point. Oh, just before I start though, because it might crash it here. Let me just make sure better pushback's disabled. It is. Tobii. Let me just get this all set up for Tobii eye tracker. Oh, why is that not working? Oh. Oh, it's off. Aha! Just reset my eye point. Problem is, it does mess around with the default views a lot. Oh, this could work. This could work. Yes, I will sit in Jim's seat and use Tobii eye tracker. This should work out well. Let me just turn it off. Perfect. Brendan, thanks for the 3 months. Don't forget to set the order brake. Just testing you. Well done. You've spotted it. Are you going to fly the approach from the FO side? I think Kat was already saying it would be ideal from a visual perspective because circling is a visual manoeuvre that we do go and sit over there. Well, looking good. We've got the 2 green circles. This is to decelerate from our descent speed to 250 knots. We're a little bit high here. Let's just see what happens. It might say drag required. It is running away slightly. Let's just make sure it pitches up to bring the speed below 250 knots here. So there we are. It's bringing the speed back and it should pitch up now. There it is. Have you ever flown with anyone called Jim in the FO? I don't think I have, Rezex. Why did you disconnect better pushback? There's a conflict main Heidler between better pushback and the Tobii eye tracker in the ZIBO mod only. Don't know why, but there is, and it causes better pushback to not work properly. So if I use one, I disable the other. Brendan, well, thank you so much. Another mistake is that you never set the back up to 10 degrees in cruise. Ah, I was only testing you here. Ooh, okay. So now the mod, it's sort of done a... So now it's sort of diving quite a lot. And I'm just using speed brake. So it should have... A bit of a bug there. It should have pitched up, given us 250, and then started pitch down to maintain 250. We came in about 10 knots fast, but it's fine. We'll keep on VNAV. I'm just using speed brake to bring the speed to 250. The next decel point, which is correctly modelled here, is to bring the speed from 250 to 210 knots, as per the procedure. And we should be able to do that clean, because the upspeed is 210 knots. How do I pronounce this, Lorenzo? Any Italians, I'm so sorry for butchering your city. Can we see a pronunciation? Let's have a look here. I'm on Google search at the moment, not looking what I'm doing. Right, speed brake stowed. How to pronounce Comiso? Let's have a listen to this.
Pronouncenames.com.
Well, this won't be any good. Comiso. How's that? How was that? Edo, how's that?
Do we have the correct pronunciation?
Well, I don't
of
know.
your
You're
name?
telling me. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's crank up the sounds for this. And again. Comiso. Comiso, accent on the first O. Comiso. Okay. Right, now we're monitoring 210 knots. Looking good here. We're about to start the procedural approach. There is our destination directly underneath us. Look at the Orpho. Orpho is superb. Comiso. Comiso. Excellent. Right, we can now set the QNH as well. So 1015. Let me get the charts up and open for you. So for the descent out, we can descend to 3,000 feet. Outbound for the procedure. So FMC speed, that's okay. I don't mind it doing that, so long as it flies the correct speed, which is 210 knots. So 3,000 feet set QNH 1015. There's no jump in the VNAV path because we've got the correct QNH set. Passing 7,800 for 3,000 feet. Standby altimeter is set. And we're now outbound on the procedure. There we go. Until 9 DME. So VNAV sort of done a bit of a jump there. It's going to start descending on the profile here. It should be doing an idle path descent still, but it's sort of... Well, maybe it will when it goes here. Could be to do with that temperature.
50,
Let's keep an eye
40,
on it.
30, 20, 10.
Ah, cat. Good point there. Thank you. Cheers, Thomas.
Would you ever do a flight on ZIBO to FNC from perhaps a UK airport?
Funchal.
Maybe do a flight from Water as it's such a short runway.
We've done Jersey, we've done Funchal in both aircraft, but I could perhaps consider that for a future stream. Thank you very much for your donation, Thomas. I appreciate that. Two things that Kat's pointed out. OPT in the ZIBO mod does not account for slope. If it's 1.2% downslope, then that's why we're getting such longer distances calculated, because obviously the OPT accounts for that. So thanks for pointing that out, Kat. Right, we're now on an idle path descent. Look, thrust is completely idle, and it's maintaining the speed. So it just did a little wobble at the overhead there, but this is looking very, very good now for where we want to be. The elevation here is a lot higher. It's about, was it 800 feet? 700 feet above the ground. So let's see where it puts us turning base. We're going to select flap 1 now, because we've got 180 knots coming up, and open the speed window. Stays in VNAV path. Workload's going to increase now a lot. Ignore the glide slope when you're downwind. It's not going to give you any decent information. I'm going to go to flap 5, match speeds. This is looking good here. It does look hot. The outside air temperature right now here at 6,500 feet is 21 degrees. So coming up to our 9 mile point, turning left, base and on to final. There's no DME information off this glide slope. You have to tune the VOR on box 2 if you wanted any distance information. Just bear in mind the VOR is not going to read 0 at the threshold. So we're on flap 5. This path is looking excellent in the ZIBO mod. I have no complaints now. Remember what I said. Who was listening earlier? Question then. If it's really hot enough, I stay on VNAV, which is the same path angle. We've got the ILS here selected. Am I going to be high off the glide or low on the glide if it's very hot like it is? This blinking light is telling me, hey flight deck sim, I'm at idle thrust and we're accelerating, do something about it. So I'm going to go to flap 10. We've got a tailwind here. This is very realistic. Be careful with flap 10 though. If it keeps accelerating, you'll need to get more drag in, which we're going to do now. Speed brake flap 10. Don't want to go above 210 knots with flap 10. It's going to put me too high. Let's see what it does. Ooh, come on. There we are. Drag's coming in now. Look at that. This is excellent work by the ZIBO mod. Vorlock, it's put me a smidgen high, and you can see that is because of the heat and the temperature. Oh, just watch that speed though. So localizer alive, localizer capture, runway heading 048. We can step down now to the circling minima, approaching descent. We've got 2,000 feet, what's like 2,100 feet VNAV path speed into vent. I'm doing everything I can to control the drag here. Speed brake, I'm slightly over the flap exceeding speed here. Oh, it should be draggier than this. And it's no, this is now put me low. Nah, should be high. I think that could be VNav's just had a bit of a wobble here. I just want to see what happens. Oh, I know what it is. I think it's not taking this into account. It shouldn't make any difference. Okay, I think when you pass this, VNav's going to update. I think this could be a ZIBO thing. Let me just get past this point here. See what happens to VNav. Checked. There we go. So now you can see it's passed up here. It's updated. There you go. So you can see, look, it's put me a little bit high. And that, I'd expect it to be a tad more, but that is the temperature. This is the effect of cold temperature error. On profile, a little high on the glide slope. If it's around 15, 16 degrees, you'd be bang on it. And that is modelled quite well. I think just VNav had a little of a wobble there. Right, gear down, flap 15. We're not going to use the landing checklist today. So start switches, continuous, recall checked, speed brake, arm green lights, landing gear down to green, order brake set to 3, and we're waiting for the circling minima now. There's a bug. This should go out acquire out hold. It goes straight to out hold. Now that's a bug. It should go out acquire out hold. We'll just let it level off at the circling minima first, 2,100. So out hold, Mr. Approach altitude is 5,000 feet. Heading select, turning 45 degrees, and the track we want to fly is 003 degrees. And we keep this configuration here. Excellent for the autopilot though, it's maintaining the altitude well. And that's why you don't use approach, otherwise the aircraft keeps descending on the ILS and doesn't level off.
Minimum.
That's fine, continue, and we want to maintain 2,100. Okay, wings level. Pretty much now. Start the timer. Timing is tailwind of 2 knots, 4 knots. It's changing. So 20 seconds minus 2 seconds, we'll call it. So we want to go on this heading for 18 seconds. So there's timing. We'll turn downwind. Downwind track is 048 degrees. Oh, wind's a little bit all over the place here. And you've got to be inside to the runway at all times. I'm meant to be in this seat, aren't I? Unusual. Yeah, as soon as they fix this lighting in the cabin cockpit, it'd be great. So, a little bit low on speed there. Come on, the autothrottle's doing the correct thing, but you can override that in the real aircraft. Right, we want to be tracking 048. We've got 045. Actually, have very little drift here, so let's go back onto 048. And we're now waiting for the green dash line. That means we're abeam the landing runway. Remember, the timing is 41 seconds minus half the tailwind component. Tailwind component is about 0. It's swinging all over. There'll be a slight tailwind. That's explained 12's default wind for you. Isn't that an SFIC? Technically, yes. Perfect. Yeah, you don't want to be below this speed. Come on, auto throttle. I think it's just adjusting to these crazy speed changes. So green dash line's coming up. And I say we're abeam now, so start the timer again. 41 seconds. Minus half a tailwind component. Let's call it 6 knots. So 3, so it's going to be about 38 seconds. And a lot of things are going to happen here. You're going to set runway heading, flat 40 match speed, and monitor the turnaround. Making sure that we do not go outside of 4.2 miles. This is your, if you go outside of 4.2, you're outside your circling protection area. You could hit something. I'm not going to turn on the eye tracker yet because I've got to configure and move tiny buttons and switches in the sim. As soon as we disconnect, I will. So there's 38 seconds. Set runway heading, which is 228. Flat 40. We're below 162 knots. Match speeds. Wait for the configuration. Flaps. 4. Oops. Oh, we said flat 30, didn't we? Flat 30. That's completely my bad, guys. Flat 30 then. Flat 31, 47, 151. So flaps have got 30 green light. Lights are on. Check's complete. We're going to just increase that bank angle to 30 degrees. And now we're going to disconnect. And turn off the flight directors. They're recycled. And
1,000.
checked. Just going to
1,000
set
feet
about 1,000 feet per minute. Ignore the glide slope. I'm going to detune that actually because there's no information. That's oh, rates of descent I'm way too low now. I did a dirty dive there. Ignore the glide slope. And it's not accurate at all. I'm a bit low here. I did a massive dirty dive. I've overshot the runway here. Oh, I meant to have Toby eye tracker on here. So I was a little bit late turning, but it's still within limits. And we're getting back onto the profile here. Glide slope is useless to us. I was meant to detune it, but ignore the glide slope. 2 reds, 2 whites. Guys, it's too hard to get all the Toby eye tracker on.
500.
I don't know why the ILS isn't detuned. Anyway, back onto centre line. 2 reds, 2 whites. That picture looks good.
400.
Speed's good. Oh, I don't like this seat. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to. It won't move. Look, I'm gonna have to stay in here. It's fine.
300.
Checked. So yeah, it was a bit of a dirty dive. That was just desktop limitations. And we're on the headwind now. Clear to land. 300 continue.
200.
Checked. Glide slopes for the other runway. Handling is very nice in the mod, apart from my dirty dive there on base.
100.
Checked. Tad high, keep descending.
Tank rate.
50.
Yeah, that's
40,
accurate.
30.
Check.
20. 10.
Hold the attitude. Ooh, it's downslope here, remember? Oh, come on. Oh, what? What? Not a putter, speed brakes up, reverses. That downslope's greatly bottomed. Water brake's working nicely. 100 knots. 80 knots.
80 knots.
Manual braking. 60 knots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Comiso. Ah, I think I found the issue with the brake bug. Yes, if I tap this once on my joystick, this button here is setting the brakes on permanently. Look, so if I tap it once, it's braking, braking, braking. Tap it again, it releases the brake. So this is toggle. I think I've got toggle on here. Yeah, nice approach. Overall, quite happy with how that went. The only issue was my sort of dirty dive I did on base because I sort of was trying to move the viewpoint in the aircraft. Here's my excuse anyway. And I let the attitude drop off. I think that could be a bit of a thing in the aircraft. Usually if it's all in trim, you can sort of just relax the controls and the aircraft will stay where it is. But I think the aircraft was still configuring. But yeah, I'll change that command after the stream. I hope you enjoyed that though. Nice little circle. The mod did a 8 out of 10 job there. The VNAV was excellent, pretty consistent all the way down. It was just over certain waypoints it sort of had a little wobble. But overall it put me bang on profile, and then on that turn onto base the profile got quite steep, so I went flap 10 speed brake and we just went slightly over 210 knots, which is the maximum flap speed for flap 10. Whereas usually if it was on path you'd sort of just, it shouldn't be doing that sort of steeper descent for you to go out of limits. But you can see once it got established on that final path after ILS, VNAV was leaving us a little bit high, which you'd expect it to do because it's 39 degrees here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Nice little circle within the limitations of the sim. Quite happy with how that went. The only thing was on that base when I disconnected, we were sort of doing 1600 feet per minute. That's a little excessive. And then over the threshold, I was doing around 1200 feet. Again, it's too excessive. I didn't do the post-cruise checks, look, never mind. That was a little excessive, and that's why we got the sync rate warning. Sync rate's around 1100, 1200 feet per minute. But overall, excellent. The mod's handling nicely. Trim was really good. The handling was pretty good within the confines of a simulator. The landing's much better than it was. I floated because it was sort of, I think, goes down initially, then up here on a little hump. But I think overall it is down. Maybe it's just the orientation from our present position, but yeah, it's working nicely there. Working nicely. Right, let's do the rest of the cleanup. 5,100. This set to 100. We'll start the AP, which we've done. Strobes off. Probing can come off, and that's all looking good. But yeah, at least I found the reason why we're stopping. Tapping the trigger, it keeps the brakes on set permanently. Right, we'll take stand 3. The airport's nice and small here. Just a very small apron, vacating the runway here at the first point. We'll just take stand number 3. Or 2. Are they all self-position stands here? Yeah, I think... Oh no, this one is sort of the in and then right. We'll take stand 2 then. AP's available on bus. Yeah, the autopilot worked very well on that approach. The autopilot's improved significantly. The auto throttle got a little bit sloppy there on the circles, letting it sort of get around 5 knots below our target speed. But overall, it was pretty good. Right, let's turn right onto stand. This is where you wish you had a marshaller. See if I can nail it like I have done in some recent streams. Ooh. Oh, it's difficult with my brake binding at the moment. Oh, nice car. Oh, ciao, Ferrari. Oh, lovely. That's the airport manager, just checking what's going on. Right, parking brake is now set. APU's on bus, 2 blues, red, engines. Oh no, engine's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Comiso. Ciao, buonasera. APU's on bus. We'll get the AP bleed on straight away. It's roasting out there, 40 degrees, and wait until the N2's below 20%. Our company, we're really hot on this now to make sure the anti-collision light only comes off when the engines have spooled down below 20% N2, which has been confirmed. That switch can come off, and then we do the checklist. There we go. Excellent work. Very, very happy with the mod here. Download this version, guys. Such a pleasure to fly. I come at work. Just my parking wasn't so great today. We won't concentrate or comment on that so much more. Moen, have I arrived just before pushback? Bad timing. We've just arrived. I've arrived on stand. I'm calling it a day. I know this is it today. Just the one flight, just to sort of do a circle for a bit of fun and to do some hot weather operations. Not much else to say really. We talked about the performance. Keep the AP bleed on as long as possible, unless you can get conditioned air as well. How much does X-Plane cost, random guy? I think it's on sale in Steam at the moment. I'm not too sure off the top of my head. It's been a while. I purchased it when it came out in its beta form. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I sort of showed you the pros of using X-Plane 12. It really is a good simulator. We love how Microsoft Flight Simulator looks, of course, but I have so much time and effort and space for both simulators, and I love flying this aircraft. And ZIBO's done a lot to make sure it works in X-Plane 12, and it's working very well. There's just little tweaks here and there. There's nothing seriously wrong with the mod anymore in this sim, which is great. Right, I'm going to call it a day because I'm going off to see my girlfriend's mum and their dogs. I'll take some pictures on Instagram if you like. You'll be, Jack and his friends will be playing tonight, so that's going to be fun for me. And I'll hopefully get another stream out prior to the weekend in this Comanche everyone's talking about. I'll have a look into that. Cool, right, let's jump on into the aircraft. Sorry I logged off of VATSIM. I think that was the right decision with the delays in Corfu, and also to demonstrate this approach with a lot of traffic would have been difficult for me to do. So I've logged off of VATSIM. Fly live I can turn off. Fingers crossed there's no issues here, because I tried to do a replay for some thumbnails for the stream and it crashed. So let's see what happens. Alt-R. Okay, so far so good. Ooh, I've not started the funky replay music. Fire me. There we go. That's on. Alright, let's just turn off that one. So, replay. Okay, that's a good start. I can slowly drag this here. Yes. Right then. So let's actually look at... let's sort of debrief that circle there, just from the turn on base leg, see what went right, what went wrong here. Bear in mind that the indications might not exactly be correct. So there we are. We started the turn on base leg, and I just... where was it when I disconnected? You can actually see where I did disconnect. Look, commands. The autopilot's in here. Ignore the indications and things. So there we are. I disconnected the autopilot. Disconnect the autopilot here. So I was at the circling minima. Let's have a look at the picture. So in real life, you'd be able to see the runway a lot clearer. And the PAPIs, even at this position, you can see the PAPIs quite clearly. Now, looking at that picture, I think that was the right point to disconnect. I look a little high. So what I was hoping to do, whilst I was fiddling with the buttons here, was set immediately 1,000 feet per minute. This was an error on my behalf. Look, I disconnected. Whilst I was fiddling here with the views and stuff, I let this get to 16, 17. This is way... And then I realised, I was like, oh crap, that's way too excessive for a circle on base leg. You want to be doing sort of 1,000 maximum, and then you see what happened. I got low, so I went 1800, got low, and then I leveled off. So if I just disconnected, set 1,000 feet per minute straight away, we would have been perfect. And another thing that happened, I just let the turn ease out there, so I should have kept it at 30 degrees the whole way around, because the tailwind was pushing me north, I believe, here, and I just let the turn just ease off, so I didn't quite roll out on the centre line. But at my operator, we have a slightly lower circling height there, so actually looking at the pappies, I was a little low there, 3 reds, but it was my fault. If I'd actually gotten the Tobii eye tracker up and running, looking outside, I'd have been able to look at that runway and judge my descent and turn onto final much better. But because I don't know, I think I clicked off my other monitor when I turned on Tobii eye tracker, it wasn't working. Then I was trying to hand fly single pilot. I was going a bit messy. It was getting a bit messy. But yeah, I didn't get 4 reds at least. And then you've got the height, the landing gates at 300 to sort out the centre line there. So you know, if I was to play that back in my head, a little bit late on turn, excessive rate of descent, then obviously had to level off. But once I got onto final, I was pretty happy with the rest of the approach. I just had a slightly excessive rate of descent approaching the threshold. So this was looking lovely all the way until here. I got a tad high, and then I went a little bit low. Look, my rate of descent was good all the way down to 850, 800, tad high. I increased the rate of descent a bit too much, no more than 1,000, and we got the sink rate 1,200 at this stage. You get a sink rate, okay, just correct straight away, and you're all right. And then there's a bit downslope here, I think. So I was just floating, just in the touchdown zone. So long landing there as well. Anyway, it was safe, it was legal enough. Let's have a look at this wonderful replay system. This is where you really see the aircraft behaving and responding brilliantly. And then there is again that sound, an exaggerated ground effect in the sim. So there's the look. You can see the downslope. That really didn't help. That's why I floated. Should have touched down sooner. Oh, this sim! Look at the behaviour of the aircraft. It is wonderful. So good. How the aircraft behaves in X-Plane is just mega. Look at the movements of the aircraft and to my inputs. If you look from here, it's going to look superb. Look at that slope. It's like a skateboard rig here. Right, that's head on there. Just to give you an impression of the behaviour here. Random guys, ZIBO free? Yes, completely free. Look at that. There's the flare. That's like you're watching an airplane landing on YouTube or one of these channels. The gear compression, all modelled accurately. So good. You know, it's not a pretty sim, but my god, you can have an airplane that flies very realistically. But it is a very pretty sim if you spend a little bit of your time. A little bit of right rudder. Yeah, that was good. A little bit off centre line, but not bad. Oh, mega. Let's have a look here from the tower. Oh, great view of the tower today. Let's crank up that volume. Beautiful. There was a little bit of induced oscillation for me in roll there. So the flaps bouncing as well. Well done, ZIBO. This has made a good point there. It's unbelievable how you get with the base cost of X-Plane with ZIBO, Ortho, SimBrief, all that, which are free apart from obviously Navigraph and Sim. Well, SimBrief's free, but Navigraph is a must really. You get a lot of bang for your buck. Right, anyway, let's pop you into the wing view. We'll do that from the beginning of the circle, so you can see me turning downward, so you can enjoy the approach and landing into Comiso. You see that excessive rate of descent as well. That was me correcting onto final. And there we go, let's do it from about there, so you can enjoy the approach. Superb. Excellent, guys, and I hope you enjoyed that little impromptu stream looking at high temperature operations and a circle to land. It's been a while since we've done any of those in the live stream. So I'm just debriefed, pretty happy with how it went. Very happy with this version of the ZIBO mod as well. Very minor issues. VNAV overall handling is very, very good. Yeah, go download it, guys, and enjoy it in X-Plane 12. Thank you for everyone that donated, for your generosity, to all the members for your continued support. Please don't forget the members-only group flights on Saturday. All the information in Discord, the more the merrier. We've got full ATC for you as well organised. And to all the regular viewers and subscribers, thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, don't forget to like it. It helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the latest content. I hope to go live, as I said. We'll have a look at that Comanche perhaps. And then the members stream on Saturday. Now I'm away for a few days and I'll be back next week. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Keep cool if you're in one of these very hot places. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.